Speech today. Anne is our speaker, and she's been an active Toastmaster for several years. She's currently working on completing level 1 of her dynamic leadership path. Her speech today is titled Life with Kittens. Joan, if you could please provide lights at 5, 6, and 7 minutes. Please help me welcome Anne.
Research? I haven't researched anything in years. I know everything. To me, research is going to the library, looking through books, reading periodicals, maybe, getting a brochure or two to find the information you're looking for. That's what I think when I hear the word research. So, I don't know, what do I need to research for this meeting? I haven't researched anything in years. What do I do when I have a question that I don't know? Those very few that happen. Well, of course, I ask Google. That's my research method from now on. It has been for several years. So, life with kittens. My husband and I were talking. We lost the cat we had in March, and it was August, and we're going, we have a mouse problem in our neighborhood. They get into our house quite easily, and the dogs will not catch them. Just refuse. So it's like, well, we should probably get another cat. We miss having the cat around. She kept the mice down. They're semi-low maintenance. So his coworker had a cat that she was looking to get rid of. She's young, so she's only about 2 years old. She's already had a couple of litters of kittens. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll take her. We'll get her spayed. She's done with her kittens, having kittens. This is all good. So all of a sudden, the lady's like, well, no, I think this cat's pregnant. And I'm like, well, I'm not taking a pregnant cat. Like, that's just not happening. Okay, so we'll take Mama Cat when she's done, when her kittens are weaned. And then it's like, well, Mama Cat should have an egg friend. So we'll take Mama Cat and a kitten. But I was allowed to get out of the car when we went to get Mama Cat. So we came home with Mama Cat and 2 kittens. Because I have no self-control. So now with kittens, I didn't do a lot of research before we got them. I've always had older cats, so I'm more used to a more sedentary, more settled animal than kittens. So instead of doing my research ahead of time and saying, okay, Google, how much roughly are vaccines going to be for these kittens? How much are the spay and neuters for these kittens? How much is cat food going to be for these kittens? No, we went out and saw these cute little kittens and went, we'll just make it work. Yeah, just as an FYI, vaccines and spays and neuters, extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. So since then, I have been asking Google a variety of questions. It started with, how long can those kittens go, 6-week-old kittens, go without eating while their mom hides in the basement because she's afraid we're out together? Okay, that's the start. And it, just as an FYI, it was only 3 a.m. feeding for them. She came out the next morning and was fine. How much do kittens sleep? With a sub-question of, well, I don't mind seem to sleep that much. They're up all the time. They're going, they're climbing, they're into things. How fast do the kittens grow? How much do they eat? When will they stop being scared of the dogs? Because the dogs just watch kitten TV now. They just sit there with this blank look on their face going, will you play with me? Please play with me. And these poor kittens are so scared of the dogs. They're just starting to come around now, and it's been about 2 months. So that was something I was really worried about, is what have I done? Have I just introduced a cat and 2 kittens into a house that is just going to be World War III continuously now because nobody likes each other? Poor Google just doesn't answer that question. Why does their kitten's motto seem to be, why jump, why walk or wait for help or jump when you can just climb up my legs, my curtains, my furniture, the bed? I haven't seen them do it to the dogs yet, so that's always a good thing. But they will climb anything and everything. I don't know how many times I have yelled, get off the blinds! Never a dull moment with kittens. I've Googled, why are the kittens still scared of me? Why do they run and hide under the bed when I'm coming to try to get to know them? Only to find out they had not been socialized much. So coming into a house with 2 adults and 3 dogs was their first true set of human interactions. So that made a little bit more sense when I figured out what was going on. As an FYI, they're getting better with me. They're still not great with my husband, probably because he's just big and scary and yells at them all the time. And my most common question is, poor Google, will a dog eat a kitten?
No.
Accidentally, on purpose, we're not sure right now, but they really get up close and personal with the little kittens. And at one point I turned my back for 5 minutes or less and came back to a very soaking wet kitten. The dogs had bathed it. I'm sure for the dogs it only took a lick or two, but that poor kitten was just drenched. So then I didn't bother with the bath. I didn't bother asking Google if I wanted to give the kitten a bath. I just dried it off with a towel and pretended it didn't happen. So from all these questions for Google and my personal experiences, I've learned that I'm not allowed to pick animals anymore. My husband can go and just bring them home and tell me what we've got. Kittens do like to eat regularly. They do seem to sleep while I'm at work. And then sometimes when I'm asleep at night, they'll sleep, and the rest of the time they're going hard and playing. And I've learned that a quiet kitten is like a quiet toddler. They're either asleep or they're up to no good. Generally with mine, it's up to no good. I'm sure as I continue growing with these kittens and learning about them, I'll continue asking Google additional questions. I'm thinking it's going to be something along the lines of how do you train dragons, or in my case, kittens? How do you entertain an older cat? Because right now I've seen them play with an envelope that fell on the floor. They love twist ties, hair ties. The one plays with pencil crayon. That's currently his favorite toy, is a pencil crayon. Because the marker was taken away because he'd just make a mess with that, so he's a pencil crayon now. And what TV shows do kittens like to watch? Because they really like to get up close and personal, about 2 inches away from the TV, and just sit there and watch it. And you can see the little heads going. I keep yelling that they're going to go blind, so I'll probably be Googling how to help cats improve their eyesight once they've wrecked at watching TV. So I'm sure as I carry on with life with kittens, you will hear more and more and more about Kit Kat, Beans, and Monty and their antics around our house. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I can't believe that you have 3 dogs and now 3 cats at your house. I feel like the animals have overtaken the humans.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could handle that. I have 1 dog at home, and we've talked about getting a second, and I think, I don't know, can we handle a second? I'm not too sure. So the fact that you brought home 3 all at once is a pretty interesting feat. For those in the club and for our honored guests, when a speaker does their speech, we have one person that's assigned to evaluating them and providing their evaluation, but we also have some evaluation sheets that we leave out at everybody's spot that they can also provide their comments. So if you have any comments, you're welcome to put them down and share them with Anne. If you don't and you're just wanting to observe today, that's perfectly fine as well. Up next, we have table topics. And I'm going to welcome Keld to the podium to lead us in that exercise.
Thank you. Thank you. Alas, it is a new year and a new me, but if you're familiar with passing of control in this meeting, my hands, the temperature of my hands are not new. I have an icy death grip, and I apologize for all people that have to deal with it. The purpose of table topics is threefold. We want to get as many members speaking as possible, in case you weren't giving a speech. We want to give you practice in thinking and organizing your thoughts in impromptu situations. Say your boss, you meet them in an elevator and they want to ask you something very important. And ideally we flesh out the meeting's theme and pad our use of the word of the day. I'm looking at you, Joan. Novel. Anyway, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. As Table Topics Master, I will call upon several people to deliver 1 to 2 minute talks on a previously unannounced topic. We allocate 10 minutes for this session in our weekly meetings. Try to arrange your responses if you can. We know it's difficult, it's nerve-wracking, in the form of an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Timekeeper, can you please provide timing signals at 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minutes? And should we have a very loquacious speaker exceed that time at 2:15, could you lead a polite clap down? Polite clap down. Chantal and Lisa, are you comfortable with Fair enough. I think that's fair enough. I never like to pick on someone who's given a speech. I have an excess of questions, so this is a non-issue. I see 4 people then. Let me very quickly scan my list here and pick the best 4, in my humble opinion. And I'll eliminate you and Asher. We'll go with the original 4. And since we began on your left for introductions, we're going to begin on my right, Ivy, with answering the topic. So our theme today is a new year and a new you. Interesting. I don't believe I've changed a great deal year on year. However, there is a newness to the year, be it as arbitrary as it is, setting a stake in the sand on this certain day, and now all of a sudden the next year is somehow a discontinuity from year to year. But the good news about this theme is there is no shortage of interesting questions one can ask as one approaches a new year. And so, Ivy, I pose you this question. How did you celebrate New Year's Eve? Again, how, and remember, you can include or exclude as much information as you see fit. How did you celebrate New Year's Eve? Please, Ivy.
Thank you, Coach.